Hey guys, how you doing tonight? Hope you can hear me all right. It is just a little after midnight New York time, and markets have just opened up for London Open. Across the pond, I am in North America, and looking at the markets from my perspective, it's going to be an interesting week. So I got a lot of shrapnel on this chart right here, but this is the U.S. dollar. I'm going to be live with you guys for probably about the next hour. We'll see how price is shaping up then. I'd like to wrap it up by then. I usually start about an hour later, but I just decided to start a little bit earlier just to get a jump on some things, talk about a couple of levels. I'm going to be discussing the U.S. dollar, obviously, which is key, very important to what we're looking at. The Euro USD, I'll discuss that. I got a lot of stuff on this chart right now. I'll start walking through that. Pound dollar, not so much on the pound this week. Last week, definitely the pound was the currency to trade, but I'm kind of thinking it's going to be the euro. Could be playing a little bit of catch up, so we'll see how that goes. Euro GBP. We're still stuck in this range. We're now on the high end of this range here, and I'll come into this. But if you take a fib, from high to low, and you run that, I mean, it's in the upper 25% level of this, and typical RSI models typically dictate that's oversold territory, or I'm sorry, overbought territory, and it could be looking for a correction. I'll come back to this, but I think we could see some more upside to this yet. So just kind of keep that in mind, but I'll come back to this one. UJ could be seeing some movement to the downside. I'm not really going to talk about that. US CAD, I'm looking for, as you can see here, a little bit more higher of a move, and then a move down into 130.20. So I'll be discussing that briefly. So, and then finally, I want to talk about crude oil and actually Aussie went a little bit lower than what I had anticipated, but I am expecting a reversal here pretty quick on Aussie. I was expecting price to come down to 73.80. It actually came down to 73.65, so a little bit lower, but I'm not too concerned with it. I think we could start to see a bounce here fairly soon, but we'll come back to that. So anyway, just basically crude oil. So these commodities down here in your lower right-hand corner. U.S. dollar, fiber, cable, Euro GBP. Again, I won't talk much about UJ. U.S. CAD, the loonie, and crude oil is mainly what I want to discuss. Dave will be in tomorrow. He'll be going through gold, obviously, and S&P, which had a nice ripper of a day on Monday here and into Tuesday. But I'll let Dave take care of that for you. I won't be talking a whole bunch about it, just to maybe look at a level here or there. I'll just actually clean this chart up a little bit. Dave will be in tomorrow to discuss this. So, copper, not much to talk about there. I'm not really going to do a whole lot on commodities today. I really kind of want to focus in on crude oil because I think that's where the real opportunity is going to lie. Nat gas was the one I was looking at, and they definitely are suppressing this market, unfortunately. I was hoping for a bounce on nat gas, but we're not getting that. I had a bit of a fake out late last week, and so far just had a failure swing right up in here, and since been trading off very, very steeply. So I'm going to nix the long idea on nat gas for now, but we'll come back to that because nat gas does go, and when it goes, it does this. So just keep that in mind. Maybe towards the end of the year we can look at something, nat gas, if we don't see prices push down much lower than where they're currently at. Bitcoin's had a nice rally so far. Price is pushing up. We could be hitting 7,800 here pretty soon. I'm not really going to talk a whole lot about Bitcoin, but we could see some upside here finally on Bitcoin. Ethereum, though, as you can see, kind of not really following suit. And Ripple, same type of idea. Now I could have old data on Ripple. Let me just have a look at this. If we're getting live prices, I'll double check on that and come back to that, guys. And then Litecoin, obviously, same type of idea. Bitcoin really seems to be the front runner, and it does seem to be jumping out a little bit. So if you're a crypto, just put a note in the comments here, guys. If you guys are a crypto trader, let me know and I can do some analysis on it for you. If not, I'm going to skip it because my focus tonight is I want to really focus in on the US dollar, Euro USD, and crude oil as the pairs tonight. So if you guys are cool with that, I'm going to get going. So anyway, US dollar, just a real quick down and dirty. Price running in this consolidation earlier in the year, finally broke out, has yet to retest any of the old highs back in here, exploded up, came back down to retest these lower areas once, and since has been consolidating sideways ever since. So it's been going straight sideways since the end of May. In fact, this last candle here, I'd consider this the start of the consolidation, basically, right down in here, since, like I say, June 1st. So it's been consolidating for the past almost 2 months now. Hasn't been doing much of anything, but I think we are going to see something here pretty soon. Now, seasonally speaking, US dollar is coming into a period of bearishness. I shouldn't say is coming into, it is in a period of historical bearishness. So we should be seeing weaker prices. However, as you can see, last Thursday, price just slammed up and took out the highs that this consolidation was creating. And it faked everybody out, everyone thinking this thing's going to keep going long, 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 and it just fell right off the face of the earth, so to speak. Really came down and took out these lows underneath this previous retracement, and so far it's come off of the lows a little bit. It came down and ran the low once down here yesterday, and now it's since been climbing up. But I think this could be short-lived, and so what I'm looking at, I'm going to drill down to the hourly. What I'm looking at here is basically this level right in here. I see the confluence of these lows in here, these body lows, these candle lows, candle low in here, candle high there, and then this wick right down here. So what I'm looking for is price to start retreating in this area. I'm looking for a move up into London, and then I'm looking for, at some point, either London or into New York, creating the high of the week. I'm just looking at the news. There's absolutely no US dollar news coming out today. It's all euro and all medium impact news. French manufacturing, German manufacturing, and obviously euro manufacturing PMI news coming out, and then Aussie dollar CPI and trimmed mean CPI coming out later Tuesday evening. So, with that being said, I am looking at the euro as something to potentially trade. See if we can't get a position in there. But we're going to have to wait for this move higher. I think we're coming out of the... Oh, sorry, I'm trying to put the day dividers on. There we go. Might help if I had the right screen highlighted. So you can see Monday came in, created a low. We're trading off of that low, and we're trading higher now. And I'm looking for price to make this move up to about 94. Here, I'm going to get rid of this. 94. Whoops. Sorry, guys. There we go. 94.60, 94.65, somewhere in and around there. I don't want to be too greedy and suggestion. Greedy is not the right word. Too presumptuous, I guess, and say that we're going to get a full move right up to the 94.65 and up to even 94. Come on, give me this 75 level. You know, I'm not gonna say that's going to be 100% guaranteed. I don't know. A lot of times they like to just satisfy price by running up about halfway up these ranges and then cutting the candle out. And that's why I had this 94.63 level kind of highlighted down here a little bit. That could be another level of sensitivity. So anywhere basically in here is kind of where I'm looking for price to come down into, or sorry, I should say to come up into, and then I'm looking for resistance to hit. And a bounce. So again, market opens up Monday, trades softer, gets stronger throughout Monday, and then London Open comes in. We create the high of the day in London, and then we start to trade off of that. It could be New York as well too, just depending on the time. That news on the euro, and I'll just flip over the euro chart here in a minute. But that news on the euro starts at 1 a.m. New York time, and goes right up to 3 a.m. New York time, and goes right up to 4 a.m. So basically there's an hour there of straight news releases. So that's kind of when I'm anticipating this to make that run, which is about 3 hours from now. So I'd be looking for, again, for Tuesday to make the high of the week and then price to start trading softer. Now, if price keeps pushing up, 94.75 starts getting taken out, and you know, its price isn't wicking or anything like that, like just running up and running back down, running up and running back down, and starting to create you know, wicks, then I would just hold off on that whole idea, because we could want to push up even higher. I'll be honest with you though, all of the price points, in my opinion, for the most part, there's a small area up in here where we may want to trade if we get some serious strength. But you look at this head and shoulders pattern right in here, and this is a pretty telltale sign that they're gonna, and prices already fallen off. And typically what they like to do is come back up and return to the right shoulder of the whole movement, and then we'll see price dip off. And that's sort of what I'm looking at here. So if you didn't get short in this move here, basically the markets give you one more opportunity to do that here, and I think that's what we're going to see this week. And then going forward, what I'd like to see, I've got some levels marked out here. 93.60, I'm still liking this level here. I think this has got a real opportunity to get tagged in this week off of this next decline. Now you look at this as well too. Typically we could potentially have symmetrical swings as well. So you see this high to that low of that swing, and let's say we get price that runs back up to, I don't know, let's just say 94.60 for instance. Well, if you look at the apex of that downward movement, you look where that brings us. It brings us right underneath these lows right here, well into the 93.60 level. But you can kind of see that's sort of the target that I'm looking at moving forward. So if we take a fit, you know, here, now this is where the chart gets a little convoluted. So I'm going to just get rid of some stuff here. So you got the idea, up and down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a fib on the chart. Oops. If I can start it from the correct. Typically, I'm just going to go from lows to highs. I guess it doesn't matter there, but that brings us right back up into about the 50% level of this retracement move is kind of what I'm looking at. Very key. So typically it's the 50%, 62, 72, or 90, 79% retracement level that you see a lot of action happening at. And that could move right up into the 50% retracement level there and then start to sell off. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. So basically 50% of this entire move down, I'm looking for a retrade back up and then a lower move. Okay. Now, going forward, where are we on the date? Now, going forward here, you see this. Now, this could be sometime out. This isn't going to happen next week or this week, sorry, or you know, maybe next week, but probably not. Maybe towards the end of the month. You see these equal lows that I've got under here, and how we got a symmetrical swing off of that fib level. That's sort of what I wanted to show you. I think we could see the low comes in here at 93.15. If we do get a stop run down here, it could take us well into this movement underneath here. and even the 92, 93 big figure level, somewhere in that neighborhood, I'm looking for price to start to terminate that movement. It could take longer than just a week or two. I mean, that could be, even into August that it takes, because it's not going to, price isn't just going to go straight down there, right? I mean, it may come up and then come back down, take out the lows and come back up again, and then go back down one more time, and then take out the lows and kind of do that and stair step its way down. But that would be kind of where I'm looking for price to definitely get underneath these lows here, and then to finish up somewhere in this neighborhood. So just kind of as a generalized target, when we start getting closer to those levels, I'm thinking, I can obviously refine that a little bit for you, and get a little bit more specific. But that's sort of what I'm looking to come to fruition going forward on the U.S. dollar. Now, as I say, what would negate that entire idea? If price ran up to the 94 level here, 94.75 level, and it just kept on smashing through, obviously pretty telltale sign. So that's why, if you're looking at making the opposite move on this, on this bull momentum, you want to try to wait as long as you can to get in, and just make sure that price is actually confirming what you know is going to happen. So when price starts running up here, we're not getting big, bold, full-blown candles coming in and closing like this big candle here and that big, we're not getting something like this powering up into there, right? We're getting, price coming up, and then it just kind of starts to taper off, or maybe comes in once, hits that 94.60 level, 65 level, and then retraces, and the next candle comes in, it's a down candle, and then that's when you typically, will get in on the retracement on that last down candle. So on that last up candle is what I'd be looking at. So something kind of like this, if it'll give it to us. Just a brief retracement, lower, and then basically a failure swing of the high, and then, something to that effect. It may not be that pretty, or it may happen. I'm on a 1 hour chart, I'm not necessarily looking for that to materialize on a 1 hour. You'd probably have to go down to a 5-minute chart to see something like that occur. And then you can get in on the sell-off. So if you are in front of the charts when that happens, great. Anticipate it, watch it. If not, that's why they make limit orders. So that's the idea on the US dollar, okay? If there's any questions, throw them up in the charts now, or throw them up in the chat now. I'll have a look at that. If not, I'm going to rip over to the Euro USD, because that's where I think the action is going to happen this week. Last week, as I say, the action was in the pound dollar. This week, I think it's time for the euro to play catch up. Now, you see here, and I apologize. I know there's a lot going on my charts, so let me just get rid of some stuff here for you guys, and it might make a little bit more sense here. Let me just zoom in, get rid of a couple of levels. Okay, that's what I wanted to do there. So you can see here, price came down, made a low here, okay? Then we came down again and made another low. It's actually these two here are almost equal lows. The low in this guy here, on this feed anyway, I think I got it by about 3 pips, if I can remember right. Come on. Low came in at 115.09. The low here came in at 115. Come on. There it is. 115.07. So I got it by 2 pips. Okay. Relatively equal lows though. I would expect them to run price back down past there again. When they do come back down for them, but it's not going to happen today. So we came down, created 2 equal lows. Price came down one more time, created a higher low, and then we had higher lows set up in here just for them to come down one more time and create one more lower low, and taking out all the liquidity that was generated in this move here, and then they smashed it up. So what I'm looking for here is this move right down. Let me just double check this one on the other chart. I want to make sure I have them both up. Okay, so higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. whoops, lower low, lower low, higher low, higher low. So as the US dollar was taking out those previous highs, the Euro USD was failing to take out the lower lows. So this is a mirror opposite of the of the dollar index. This should have been taking out those lower lows as the dollar index was making new highs. Didn't do that. Last Thursday, the US dollar, as you can see, wicked up, ran the stops, rejected. Euro USD wicked down, but just to take the short-term liquidity under here in July. But it failed to run the lows from early or end of June or early mid-June. So kind of a telltale sign that the Euro USD is a little bit stronger and it's showing that strength. And I think we're going to get a move up higher. Now, this is the interim high. I would imagine that this is going to be taken here this week for sure. My ultimate target, though, on the upside is 118.90 to 119.10. There's about a 20 pip range in there that I think we could see prices run. Really, it just comes above this high here, about 30-40 pips. And if we get more, great. Even big figure 11900 could be in the cards. But ultimately, and we can refine that again as it gets closer. Once it starts trading up there, I'll drop down to the hourly, and then I'll pick a level in here that I think is going to be the high confluence level where price will more than likely want to reach for. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, if we go drop down, speaking of hourly, this price is doing the same thing that the US dollar is doing, except in reverse. So US dollar made that higher high back here last Thursday as this was making a lower low, taking out the short-term lows here. Stab down, rejected, and it just took out the high here on Monday. And now we've been trading softer. So I was looking for price to start reversing about the 1690 level. It looks like because we have, this is a little bit quicker to fill in this range in here. The US dollar, obviously, it's got a little bit more ground to cover, so it's going to take a little bit more time to get up there. But we could start to see a reversal anywhere in this range right here, anywhere between 116, call it 75, and 116.60. So that's kind of the level that I'm looking at. If this candle right here, if price pushes down through this candle, I'm not going to stress about that because the very last line of defense, in my opinion, and where price should not need to go any lower whatsoever, is about the 116.10 level. Okay, so on the downside, if we do see price start to slip, because the US dollar is making this push higher up into here, I'm expecting that price is not going to go any lower than this 116.10 level, and that we will we'll start to see this act as support, and we'll see a bounce ensue from there. So that's what I'm looking at on the Euro USD going into London. Now that's quite a ways away. You know, that's 75 pips away from here. That'd be a pretty big range for the euro to travel, to get down there, which is kind of why I'm thinking this level right in here, is going to hold price, and we should start to see a bounce somewhere in this area. I thought it was actually going to be about 1690 to 1680. It seems like price may want to take a little bit deeper of a run than that, so we'll get rid of that. And this is why, again, this is why you watch those prices, time and price. Price was coming in slamming down into that level at a time where, you know, it shouldn't have necessarily seen any type of bounce, and that's exactly what we saw. Price didn't see any bounce. It just continued to trade lower and trade softer. Now we're starting to get into that area and that time of day where price and time are now starting to line up. So now you just kind of got to wait. Again, news events coming out here in the next couple hours. You can put your levels in, and you can watch for the bounce. So I think what I would be looking at personally on my demo account, I would be entering a potential demo trade. And like I say, I'm not going to be sitting in front of the markets until 3 a.m. New York time. I'm just I'm not. I don't have that kind of time right now. So I'd like to put in a limit order, and I think that limit order would go in right around 116.60, maybe 116.65, just to kind of give me an extra little bit for that dealer's spread. So somewhere right in about here, and if price wicks down into it, you know, we can watch for that to happen. Trade triggers, and away we go. Now, if the trade gets down to 116.50, this is kind of where you gotta sort of watch things a little bit. If the trade does come down and wick into 116.50, if it has willingness to go lower, this is where I don't necessarily want to have a 50 pip stop on my trade, which means I'll probably be putting a lesser leveraged position at my limit order right around the 116.65 level. So what I might do is create two limit orders, one up here at 116.65 and then another down here at about 116.15. And and that way, if price comes into here, it grabs it and it doesn't want to go any lower. Price rejects. I got one order in, and I can look to add in the rest of this position as it's going up. Or option number two, it triggers, it continues to go south, but I've got you know, half or a quarter of the typical leveraged you know, trade size that I'd have on, so I can afford a deeper price retracement, and then I have my price come down here, and hopefully we'll see a bounce down in there. Now the absolute low on this, like I say, like I would not, if price comes down in here and it sits at 116.10, I absolutely 100% would be killing my trade at about 116. You know, 115.97, I think. Just a couple of pips below the 11600 pip, just in case they want to stab down to that big figure 11600 level, just for argument's sake, and then we see a rejection. So that's what I'm looking for, and I can set those up here now, walk you guys through that, how that looks in case you're a new trader and you're wondering kind of how that's looking. But that's kind of my thoughts on the euro. And again, target on the week, I'm looking at 118.90. So that's a couple hundred pips away. So if we do get an entry in at 116.65, and we do get price move up, that's about a 230 pip move to the upside on Euro USD. So that's what I'm looking for the week to pan out. And again, there's a lot of news events happening this week. So I think that is easily attainable, in my opinion, especially if we see the U.S. dollar start to falter and we really start to trade lower and get underneath this low here and ultimately get under here. Then, I mean, this level up here would just be the stepping stone to, you know, getting above this high in here. So we could be talking a few hundred pips movement away to the upside. So that's what we're looking for on US dollar and Euro USD. Now onto the pound quickly. Again, last week the move was in the pound. You can see this beautiful move that happened on the pound. Came down, smashed out all these lows in here, took out these lows in here that I've been calling forever. Finally did that last Thursday, and then look what price did. Price completely rejected back above these two down candles, and so far price has been trading softer, but I am expecting a bounce on this pair as well. And pretty much anywhere in here it could bounce. Now there is an area right down here that they may want to run price back down to, so just keep that in mind. If the US dollar does make this final push up into here and doesn't just start rolling over from where it's at, we could see that quick dip down. I would definitely expect this. So here, let me get rid of this guy here and this guy here. I would definitely expect them to take out this low right here. And now price could just go down by a pip or two or 10 pips even, which would sort of bring it into this neck of the woods. And then I would expect rejection from there. So it's the low in this candle here. I want to grab that. 130.70, so that's the low. I would say the very low, 130.60. I would expect price to go north from there. Anyway, I'm not really looking at the pound dollar. If you are a cable trader, great. I would look for price to go down to this area potential to get in some longs. And I would suggest that as a target, I would probably be looking right around here at 132.25 area as a good target. So that's, again, 200 pips away from current level. If we get an entry down here, be a nice haul for the week if you get that. We may not see a giant move like that. Price could just sort of chop sideways and consolidate. So you see what the Euro USD has been doing here. It's been really consolidating and going straight sideways for a time period, whereas the pound dollar, as you can see, has been declining nicely and each time creating lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. They've been moving and manipulating the pound dollar, whereas the Euro USD, again, has been sitting relatively sideways. So I think it's about time for the Euro USD to catch up, and now would be a good time for something like that to happen. So that is kind of what I'm looking for. One second, guys. I'm just going to put in oh, here it is here. This is what I was looking for. If I can get this on my chart right, I may not be able to. There we go. So I'm just trying to get a channel to run on this here, so you can kind of understand what I'm driving at here. But I don't know that I'm going to get, I don't know why this isn't lining up. I've never used this indicator, so I was kind of hoping to get a wider array. There we go. That's better. Right about there. So you can kind of see sort of what I'm driving at. Anyways, I gotta move it back up to here. So you can see how price is just driving straight down in this channel. Really has not deviated from it. And it was actually trading under this channel, making lower low, lower low, lower lows. And then now it's failed to hit that lower line again, and it really is pushing up higher in here. So basically what I'm trying to drive at here is not necessarily anything to do with this actual pitchfork indicator or anything like that. I'm not running any type of trend line off of that. I'm just trying to show you that if I were to take the exact same thing and put it on here, it would basically look exactly sideways, as you can see here. All right, just about straight sideways, and that's the consolidation range that I've been in. So there's that. I'm just really trying to illustrate the difference on the curve. Really is all I'm trying to do. So I think you guys can kind of see what I'm driving at here, and I can play with this forever. I'm sure you guys are probably bored watching that, but anyways, yeah, so you can see they've been manipulating the pound dollar, whereas the euro they've been consolidating. So last week there was a ton of news on the cable. We saw this massive push lower. It ripped down and took out all of these stops underneath here and there, and ultimately this big pool of liquidity under here. And so I think ultimately the main goal now, especially with the US dollar running higher, we should see an equal move in the cable. But right now I'm not going to get too excited. I think short term, sorry, at the end of the week, 132.25 could be on the table, maybe even 132.00, just for argument's sakes. but I think they'll easily get run back up into that level there. And then, and I'm just going to take a quick fib off of this level here. There is another low, so 130.60 comes back into about the 62% retracement level. There is another level lower. I kind of like the 72% retracement level at 130.50. So somewhere in between 130.60 and 130.50, I kind of like for an area of support to be created. And basically right where this trend line's bouncing, or running right through that Gann line, or that pitchfork line right there, would be kind of where I'd be looking for price to start making a move to the upside. So but that's cable, that's euro. So I mean, you kind of got my thoughts. US dollar, I believe we're going to see a final push here. I'm hoping to see weakness in this area, and then euro and cable should start to see some strength, and we'll see those push higher. Now, Euro GBP, I kind of touched on this at the very start of the live session here. So I'm looking at this saying, well, they've really made a push to the upside here, but they're still trapped in this consolidation. Now, if I were a consolidation trader, I would be starting to look for selling opportunities in here. As you can see, they've run price up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, call it 7, 8, 9. Now they're the 10th time trying to run higher and trying to get above and out of this consolidation level. This could be it. This could be the time where it finally breaks to the upside and it starts running. But I'm more so kind of thinking that they're still going to continue to manipulate either euro or the cable, and so this may not be finished in this consolidation zone that it's in right now. It could see one more dip lower. But you know what, to be honest with you, if the Euro USD is going to see punching higher, so obviously Euro GBP, Euro is the front pair. Euro should see some strength in here coming into this week, so we could potentially see this break to the upside. But it's just been trapped in such a long consolidation range right in here that I'm definitely not going to be. I don't trade the Euro GBP. I use this for a hedge. Mainly, and to tell me where the euro and the cable are going, the fiber and the cable are going to go. But and right now you can see the strength on this. We haven't really seen the Euro USD see that strength. We saw a little bit of a run out from last week, from those lows that it took out. But really, I think there's a lot more upside for the Euro USD to catch up on this big move up into here. I think there's going to be some room for it to go, and this today and even into this week, we could see a run up, and we could see it take out this interim high right here. You look what they did down here; they came down. So as this was consolidating, they ran stops here, and then they ran stops here, and since then they've yet to run any stops until now. Now they're finally back up into here, and we could see one big push out above it. And then price may reject or it may continue. I don't know right now, but I think they're not done with it. I think this run up here and then the small retracement last Friday and then Monday, I think that's probably about it. And we're probably not going to get much lower than right here. And that comes in at 89.13, call it 89.15, somewhere in and around there. If price goes lower than there, I wouldn't expect it to go too much lower, but if it does go lower, then it could be wanting to recapitalize the area in this small tight range right in here. But I think it's just building up long positions right in here, and I think we're going to see another move to the upside. I think these highs, look at this, there's equal highs right here too. Again, this is just supports you got to try and find as many areas of confluence as you can to support your theories, your trading ideas. Right now, my trading idea is to go long Euro USD. I'm trying to think of reasons why, and what would support that. What price, correlating market would be supporting that theory. This would be one of them, right? This move to the upside here, the Euro USD has not really shown any of that yet, other than this move, these 2-day moves right here last week. This, I'll put the data dividers on. This was the entire week of movement to the upside. The Euro USD should have shot way higher than it did. Way, way higher. As it is, look, see, this was the week. So this was the Euro USD week. This was Euro GBP's week last week. Notice the difference? I'll spare you putting the Andrews pitchfork on this one, but I think you can tell, right? Euro USD definitely a muted move, whereas the Euro GBP, you know. So anyway, I think the euro is going to catch up. Fiber is going to catch up, and we're going to see it happen this week again. And I'll just bring up the news again. If you guys have not looked at Forex Factory this week for news, I'd highly encourage you to do that. Look how much euro news. Euro, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 euro news events between Tuesday and Thursday. You think that's going to move price a little bit? Especially onto Thursday. We could really start to see it price pushing up and making those highs. There's a lot of news on the U.S. dollar and the European dollar, so the euro. So I think we could start to see this thing really, really busting out of this zone in here. So anyway, that's my thoughts on those four currencies. Any questions? Okay, perfect. No questions. UJ, obviously, I know there's a couple of UJ traders around. Obviously, if the US dollar, I think, is going to falter in this area and we see a drop, we're going to see a corresponding drop in UJ. You can see here how price pushed out. Now, this is interesting, though. It made its high on Wednesday, Thursday of last week. Monday kind of traded south a little bit. I would expect a bigger bounce in here, higher. We may not get that. Price could just come in here and just roll straight over. So if we do see that weakness in the dollar, we could see this decline. And they actually, they failed to get higher than this price swing in here. They came, the bodies of the candle came sort of right about the mid-range of this up candle right here, which is interesting. That's the bodies of the candles. 2 wicks higher, failed tweezer top, and sell-off ensued. Pretty strong bearish sign right there. So what we're going to need to see happen is we're going to need to see this low right in here. We're going to need to see 1070 at the very least broken to the downside. I'm not a UJ trader by any stretch of the imagination, but if I do see a false move higher, so if price sits in here and it does start to catch up to what the US dollar is doing, and it starts to kind of do this kind of manipulated move higher into here, then I might be inclined to look at taking a sell. I don't sell the UJ. I don't trade the UJ, but I would maybe advise to take a trade somewhere in that neck of the woods if it ever got up to there. But right now it's showing some fairly serious signs of decay, and it may not get up to 1200, 1200. So we could just have to trade it south from right here. So anyway, if you're a UJ trader, then I would be looking for lower prices, and it's only in conjunction with the US dollar. If we weren't seeing this weakness on the US dollar that I think is going to start, then I would definitely not be suggesting going short on this pair, especially with this big bull run that you can see is happening here. Now, for a potential target to the downside for the week, definitely there's some equal lows right in there, right under those two candles right there, that I think could be a nice target, and that would be a big move down, about 230 pips down to that neck of the woods. Especially if you got an entry up into here. I don't think we're going to get an entry higher on this. It might come up to this consolidation level in here, but if it gets much higher than that, then I'll be watching up into here. But I wouldn't want to see price go any higher than this line, right? You know, let me just look at this for a second. I wouldn't want to see price go any higher than this line, 112.20. That would be pretty much the line in the sand for me. If I saw price go higher than that, then I would probably not be very interested in trading this pair. So that's what I'm looking for on UJ. But I would expect price to probably reverse in here, and only because this is a fairly muted retracement versus the US dollar has a nice big strong retracement right in here, which leads me to believe they want to clean up some price levels in here and then and then they'll probably sink it. So, and this could be just showing same type of idea with the Euro USD. So you see how the Euro has been showing some strength in here, showing strength. This one dip down here failed to get lower than these lows down here, and we see a nice shoot up. The UJ could just be showing weakness in here, and you know, the US dollar just hasn't shown that weakness as of yet. But this could be a forecast as to what could come in the US dollar. So just keep that in mind. There could be some divergence happening there, and markets could be uncorrelating just for this brief time period. And again, this could just be the prelude to what's to come. So anyway, that's UJ. I'm not a big UJ trader, so I'm not going to do any more analysis on that. I'll leave that up to you guys. But right there, look at that. I'm going to put that on there. I like that area. Those equal lows. Look at that. I wonder what that came in at. Low 109.37. Low. Whoops. You can see in the bottom of my chart here. Low 109.36. Low 109.36. So that area right there, I think, is going to get tagged, and will probably get tagged this week. Borrow that line right there. Look at that. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. That's a great area of confluence right there. Look at that. 161 level comes in almost perfectly right at that low right there. So if we get a low from there to there, what would that be in terms of pip range? Let's see, we get a low or a high up there. Yeah, 230 to 250 pips. Not too bad for a weekly range. So lots of potential there, guys. And then lastly, I'm just going to have a real quick look at US CAD. This guy here has been just kind of sitting sideways, honestly. I haven't really been super excited about trading US CAD lately. Yes, it's definitely shown a couple of nice bull movements in here. This was terrible to trade. This pattern in here was not nice to trade. This was a nice little pop here, but just since then, it's just been kind of rallying. If we do see that sell-off in the US dollar, price will easily trade back down to here, but I would expect lower prices, like down to here as a level that they may want to run price into. So if we do see a fairly good sell-off in the US dollar, we could see a decent sell-off in the US CAD. Long term, though, I'm bullish US CAD. I think that this price is going to continue to probably take out these highs here, but in the short term, it may see a bit of a retracement. And so if we look at the last major retracement, which was down, price came down, smashed down, took out those lows there, rolled it back up. You know, there's like 79% retracement level, right back down here. Now look at that. And that was the, come on. See that 79% retracement level came right into the levels that I was talking about earlier. Those lows down right in there. That'd be a perfect level for that to hit. That, if we got a trade off of there, would be about 400 to 500 pips in distance. So, and magnitude, that would be a nice move if you get that. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of US CAD. I like how it rejected off of these lows. See how price came up and smashed into here. Basically the lows right in this consolidation level right here. Tagged right off of that and just traded off beautifully. So I'm not expecting a giant move in here. I would expect price maybe to run back up to see all these lows coming in here at right about here, 132. I'm just gonna shrink this up here. Well, 132.30. I would say somewhere in and around there. If price got any higher than 132.30, I wouldn't be interested in it. But we could see a move up to there. a little bit of distance from here. It's about 50 pips from here, so could see a nice runner coming into London Open if we do get that push higher into the US dollar. Could see that run right up in there, so we'll see how that goes. I'll be honest with you, I won't be watching the US CAD. I just, again, I haven't been trading it a whole lot since price has been really doing this stuff in here. I just haven't really been trading it a whole lot just because of that. That's really, really ugly price action in there. But you can see the move up, the failure swing here. Same type of idea here. The move up created that one interim high in here. Failure swing, basically head and shoulder pattern, sold off. I'll be looking for something fairly similar in here. But for price to get underneath here, that's kind of where I'm looking for it to go long term. So certainly under here this week. I think that'd be an easy trade for the week. But anyway, that's what I'm looking at. So that's it for Forex. US dollar, Euro USD, cable, Euro GBP, UJ, and US CAD. I'm not going to look at any other Forex pairs. I did talk about Aussie, but I'm not going to go into there for the most part. I wanted to discuss crude oil because I think there's something interesting happening in the crude oil markets. I don't necessarily want to go on a long rant about it or anything like that, or I just kind of want to, I'll try to keep my comments very, very brief on it. So right now, there's some interesting phenomena going on with crude oil. I kind of alluded this. If any of you guys watched my recorded session from yesterday, or from Sunday, sorry, I kind of mentioned a few different contributing factors to the price of crude oil and why we're potentially seeing some manipulation in the market. It's interesting. So, look at this. We may not see a move on crude oil, though, until Wednesday. So I'm hoping for a move today into Tuesday. But as you can see, Wednesday, crude oil inventories. So a lot of times they hold price until the inventory numbers come out. Here's the thing. So I'm just going to walk back just a little bit. Big bull move up. Price came up and topped into here. And actually, it started, price came and moved into here. I was bullish, 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 bullish. I'm still bullish on crude oil. I think it's still going to go up. That's the long story short. But as price got into here, I kind of started to hesitate on my calls on the long position. Just because all the areas that they have not, they've created higher lows all up in here. I mean, it just, look at all these higher lows. And they haven't come back to take any liquidity or do any stop runs. They had a nice deep retracement here. I think price is ultimately going to come down to here, but I'll get to that later. But you can see in here, they had one interim stop run right in here, and then they smashed price up one more time. Now look at what they're doing. And basically right in here is where I stopped making recommendations on crude oil and saying I wanted to wait to see what happened after that big OPEC meeting. That big OPEC meeting was June, and so that was basically since the end of April. And then all of May, I didn't trade crude oil from the end of April all the way through May. And there's a big OPEC meeting June 21st, which was right here. Right there. See that candle right there? June 21st came out. I'm bullish crude oil. The whole world is bullish crude oil. They come out and they say, well, we've done a good job of reducing oversupply. We've all through this right here, this entire run up, they've been cutting production, cut production, limiting the amount of supply that's going into the crude oil storage barrels worldwide, and so it starts to slowly drive price up. Okay, that's the premise behind it. So then they come in this OPEC meeting right here. Right, this guy right there, that candle right there. Okay, June 21st they come in, and I'm waiting to trade crude until that. And they come in and they say, we're going to slowly start increasing production limits. We're going to allow for 800,000 barrels a day to come back online, and just because it's this run up here has done such a, all the cuts in production have done a great job at reducing the oversupply, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and now we're going to start increasing production. So typically that means that the supply is going to increase, so which means the demand is going to go down, which means the price of crude oil should go down. And what they decided to do, so then the meeting started on, I think it was on a Wednesday, and if you recall, the 21st of June was a Thursday. So the last candle right here. Then Friday comes out, and look at this. I'm just going to get rid of this so you can see a little bit better. Look at this monster bull candle right here. So they come in and they say, we're going to start increasing production. That should have a reaction on the market and should draw price down. But a little tiny news event comes out that says Syncrude, which is partly owned by Shell, Shell Canada, partly owned by, not Total. There's 2 or 3. It's a consortium of them, but Shell's the main owner. I think they own 45% of Syncrude. Syncrude refinery has a hiccup, and they're going through maintenance right now, and their production's down. So they don't have the ability to refine crude, produce crude, get any crude on the market. And look, and this is the Canadian tar sands we're talking about here. There's like, Syncrude is one of like 30 of them up there. Not to mention, on top of all the supply coming out of the U.S., on top of all the supply coming out of, Iraq and Iran and the Middle East, and all the supply coming out of Russia, and I mean, the list goes on and on. You've got one tiny little manufacturer that comes in and says, our crude oil is not coming out of our facility. And this is the move that ensues, and this was splashed all over the news media. Right? It was everywhere. Syncrude's down, output shut down, they're offline for blah, 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 weeks at a time. Well, look at this move that ensues. Let me put this into perspective. This is a 65.75 to 75. It's almost a $10 movement on crude oil in a week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. Call it a week and a half to get up to this high. That's crazy. That's manipulation. That's, anyway, I think this right here is a topping pattern. So you see price moves up here, creates a high, comes back down, creates a short-term low, failure swing low. Everyone's predicting higher prices, and I was predicting I was predicting price to come down a little bit lower than what it did, especially when they came out and said, inventory is going to increase. Then we see this move up higher right into here, and then we see price falter. It goes sideways and it falters. And then we come down into here. We make a very, very weak retracement up to this level here. And I think this was the level where you could pretty much have gotten short. And I think the next move, I think we're coming down here. There is some more news coming out, coming into the spotlight right now. So here's the thing. U.S. comes out, they put sanctions on Iran. Iran comes out and says, screw you, who are you to put sanctions on us? We're selling all of our oil direct to China. Oh, and by the way, we're not using the petrodollar to do it, which is backed by the U.S. currency. So the U.S. comes in, this big, tough country, pushing everybody around, and basically in the Middle East, and Iran is not having any of it. And so, which means the global supply, I mean, it's not necessarily going to get affected, but it just means that Iran isn't going to be pumping oil onto the market, but China is going to be buying it. So here's the thing: if China is going to be buying crude oil, a lot of it from Iran. I'm not saying they're buying all of it, of course. I don't know everything and how it works. I don't know. I know less than a fraction of anything going on geopolitically with the oil and gas market. But I do know that if China comes in and they start purchasing from other places, and the U.S. isn't their one main source of oil, that this price, this WTI, this West Texas Intermediate that's backed by the greenback, is going to start faltering. And I think that's what we're seeing here. I don't know, but I mean, it's just such a fragile market. Like again, that example that I just gave you of one tiny little refinery going out, boom, smashes prices up. Now here's the next little bit of news that just came out. Total, their offshore rigs. They have Total is a massive global oil and gas producing company. They've got refineries and offshore rigs, and they've got facilities all over the globe. They're going on strike apparently. Their offshore platforms anywhere. I don't know about all of their landlocked ventures, but I do know their offshore rigs they're going offline here for a little while. What's that going to do to price? I find that kind of interesting. Are we going to see one more big push higher here and see price skyrocket back up and get above these old highs here and make one more higher swing? Or is price going to continue to bow down to the pressure from from China coming in and buying crude and other currency and bypassing the U.S.? It remains to be seen, but so far, very, very weak trading on crude oil. I don't know. It's just, I want to say lower prices short term. Like, here's the thing. Seasonally, crude oil, it should be fairly bullish right about now. Now, look, and now technically speaking, here's the other thing too. Technically speaking, from the low to the high, price is coming right down to a nice area of confluence down here, 72%, 79% retracement level. We all know these levels in here. This is nothing new. Very high levels of confluence for reversals to happen. Not saying it's not going to happen. It could definitely happen. I like price going down to here. I think from where we are right here, I think we'll probably see price erode a little bit further. But with so much geopolitical news on the horizon, and again, Total coming in, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of these events are completely orchestrated. So again, underlying, we look at this and we say, well, China's not buying as much in crude oil. And I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers. I got to do some research on inventory numbers, purchase numbers, and everything, and how much is getting exported to China versus how much is coming. And we're probably never going to know how much is coming out of Iran going into China directly. But China is if not the biggest, one of the biggest energy consumers on this planet. And I can promise you that whatever they do will affect the price of crude oil. So again, I this whole Total strike and everything else, it could just be false manipulation. If we do see a pop higher on crude oil, it could be false manipulation. But I digress. I was discussing this after Sunday open, Monday open, that this gap was going to get filled. And I said that I like price coming under these equal lows right here. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see happen here. I think we're going to see price come down. And I'll just throw a quick line on there. You see those equal lows right there? And we're going to see price run for those. And I didn't know what was going to happen first. If price was going to come down here, take out those lows, and then head for the gap, or if price was going to take out the gap and then head for the lows. Unfortunately, I didn't get in on this trade. I would have liked to. It happened, I think, at about 6 a.m. New York time. What are we on here? We're on the hourly. We are 1. So that was... Oh, 15 hours ago is when that price hit that high in there. Unfortunately, I wasn't in front of the charts and watching that, but I could have got in on a short. Would have been a nice short, and price would have ran down about $1.80 to current levels. Would have been a nice trade. Didn't get it, but I do know we will run down for these lows right here. Whether they want to pop it up higher and then drop it, or if they're just going to start sinking it. Typical fashion is they'll probably just start sinking it right from here. You can see price coming in. They'll probably just end up sinking it, but just starting to take the lows there, as you can see. But the price is coming in, creating a low, another equal low, another relatively equal low. Everybody right now is thinking that as support. All the retail traders out there, that's support, 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 support. Price isn't going to go past that barrier. It's going to start running higher. They may run it higher, but if they do run it higher, they're only going to be running probably into maybe here, just to maybe take out this short-term high here or this short-term high here. but then they're going to drop it. And I think long term, I think this is where they're going to go on the day. So let's say we do get a move up to there, from down there, that's about $1 move on crude oil. Now, where it goes from there, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm at a bit of a loss. This is ugly trading in here. You can't trade this market in here. If you try to, you're going to get chopped up. I would not highly recommend that. This you can trade. This you can trade, right? Like I was saying to you a few minutes ago, this you can trade. This chop in here is not fun. But if we do get below that low, I think that 79% retracement level comes into play. I see short term, going into the week, I see prices coming lower on crude oil. If it stays that low, 66.42, 66.40, sorry, 66, call it 45, I kind of like, just as sort of an even number. We could see that happen. I think this run below these equal lows right here will definitely make that happen. But from there, don't forget, Total is going on strike. So, right, this move here, this was just that little refinery in Canada in the middle of nowhere that cut production. And look what happened. Total is a massive company, massive worldwide company. I mean, imagine the reverberations that are going to be felt if that company goes on strike and they start to cut production and their ability to refine. I mean, call me crazy, but this little $10 move could be paled in comparison. And I am reading a lot of reports, and there's a lot of historical data, and there's a lot of support that backs crude oil going up to $85 this year. So just keep that in mind. I'm not necessarily saying I'm a short, going to short crude oil all the way down to $50 a barrel or anything like that. Like, I don't think we're going to get, all the way back. I'd love it if price got back down to here, hit this level right here, because I've been calling that level for a while. 59.90s, that'd be great. If it just came in, touched off of it briefly, and then just skyrocketed from there, that'd be gorgeous. I don't think we're going to get that, but I definitely think we're going to see a run lower than those lows this week here, and then from there, I don't know. We're going to have to see. If we start getting a bounce in that level, then we could see it run higher. If not, then, well, these lows are going to get taken out, and then from there, who knows how low it could go. So that's my thoughts on crude oil, guys. Any questions about that? I don't know how more of a clear picture I can paint. The crude oil is one of those commodities that is very, very heavily traded. Tons of liquidity. When you're on the right side of the move, it's beautiful. You can make so much money in this commodity. It's great to trade when it's doing stuff like this. When it's doing stuff like this, it's beautiful to trade. But it chops you up and it eats you up very, very quickly when you get into this stuff, this stuff in here, this in here is ugly, right? So you just kind of got to be careful trading it. But when you get in on the right side, it is beautiful to trade. So let's check back on Euro, see where we're at here. Looks like we're getting a bit of a bounce. Price ran down going into 1 a.m. New York time, and then has since, midnight New York, and then has since started to come off a little bit, which would coincide with this move with the dollar. Could just be a quick run above these equal highs here. These equal highs come in at 94.47, 94.47, 94.50. 3 pips higher. Could have just been a quick stop run and then a rejection. So we'll wait and watch for that. If price does not get lower than here, basically right about there. If price doesn't get lower than that line, then we're probably going to see one more push higher here. It could run up about another 15 pips or 20 pips or so. So I'm going to watch for that. Same type of idea with the Euro USD. We could see the Euro just sit here and kind of go sideways. So this is what I was saying if you're just joining us now. So this is what I was saying earlier. I'd like to I don't know, I might be too close to the market. I'd like to put in just a pending order on my demo account so you can kind of see what I'm looking at here. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just setting up the order and I'll bring it into the screen. And I said the take profit on the euro was up around 18.90. Okay. So, as you can see here, this is just my demo account. See, demo. I'm looking to set up, this is just a pending order because I'm not going to sit here and watch price with you guys right now for the next, this could take an hour or two. All that news is coming out here in about 2 hours, just a little under 2 hours from now. I'm not going to stay live for that amount of time. I'm going to wrap this session up here in a little bit, but just so you can kind of see what I'm working at here. About 160.65 is kind of what I'm looking at. We could see a push down to 116.60, somewhere in that neighborhood. And we could even see a move down underneath these lows here, which is why I have my stop pushed all the way down to this level here. So what I'm doing is I'm reducing my trade. I typically would sell, I would typically put in about a half a lot on this, and I'm just going to elect to do 0.3 of a lot. So just, you know, again, and then my second, that's interesting. I don't know why they decided to stack my menu like that on this. That's weird. Anyway, I'll fix that later. Not going to worry about it right now. But, yeah, so what I'm going to elect to do then from there is I'll put up a second order, and this one I'll do at a lower price and reduced, obviously, to, and I'm going to put a pending order, buy limit, at 116.15. So I was just kind of mentioning this earlier about same stop loss, 115.97, just a few pips lower than that 1600 level, just in case they want to drive it down there. You never know. Could spike it on the news event. And 118.90 would be the target one on the upside anyway. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. So if they do run this, we'll grab that, and if not, if they do run this and reversing, we'll grab it here. Hopefully this isn't going to leave me in the dust here and just start pushing. If price pushes above this area right here, then I'll be getting into it. As it's pushing up into here, I'll be getting into that. And this was just basically a stop run. You can see how price came down under those equal lows at 116.82, created a low of 116.74. Possible stop run right here, but we'll wait and see. What's going to be the telltale sign is if this candle loses steam and we continue to push up, then we could see that final movement back up into here. I think personally, for me, it's a little bit early still for the move to happen. I'd like it to happen in about the next hour or so. I think I'd like that final little push up higher into there. Is kind of what I'd be looking at. So anyway, so you got kind of what I'm looking at. I'm just actually going to take a quick screenshot of this. So you got a free trade. I don't offer a ton of free trades all the time, but that's just something I'm looking at. One second, guys. I'm just typing a quick note here for myself. Sorry about that, guys. Just a real quick note. Okay, so you can kind of see what my thoughts are on that. So that's kind of about all that I had to talk about. If you stuck with me from the beginning, I appreciate that. I was analyzed US dollar, Euro USD, pound dollar, Euro GBP, UJ, US CAD, and crude oil. And I'm not going to go into any other commodities except for copper. Copper is interesting. I want to see if we get any further push up on copper. Might consider buying if the commercials on copper are just out of control. They are very, very long right now. And they may just consolidate price. They could do this, right? Just keep in mind, down here, they could easily do this. But they are very, very long right now. And the commercials. And so it's kind of interesting to see. Copper may not even be... we'll come back to it. I'm not looking at a trade on it right now, but just kind of an idea if we're looking at for later. So anyway, that's about it, guys. It's now 1:22 a.m. New York time. If you guys have any questions, throw them up in the chat right now. I'll have a quick look at those. If not, I think I'm probably going to end this live session, because there's not really much else that I can talk about. Unless you got a pair that you want me to analyze that I haven't thrown up yet today. I can certainly take a quick look at something for you if you would like. But if not, then I'm going to escape and come back to the charts. Got my limit order set, so I'm going to set it and forget it and come back and look at it here in about an hour or two when the news starts hitting, and we'll see where we're at from there. So sorry, I gotta just... Sometimes the levels on the charts just get crazy. It's very, very hard to see. In my opinion, it's very... I don't know how people can trade sometimes. Like, I see some... I trade fairly naked in terms of how my charts look. I see some people out there, I mean, they've literally got a line or an indicator or a number or something in like every square inch of workspace that they've got on the chart that they're analyzing. It's insane. I don't know how they do it. My eyes just kind of start to glaze over at some point in time. I don't really trade with indicators. I mean, you guys, if you've been with me long enough, you can kind of attest to that. But I'm sure you can probably agree. If you're one of those people, kudos to you. I can't do it. I can't trade like that. But I just kind of find it very, very interesting that yeah, some people can just mark their charts up like that and just still understand and see price and see the candles fire and everything else, because I can't see it. I need to have a fairly clean chart to see what I'm looking at, and then I can just go in and just mark up the general area that I'm working on, pick up the short-term levels that I'm looking at, and away we go. So anyways, as I was saying, I think we're probably going to see a run up to about the 132.20 level on cable here. I don't know why I said that. I'm on cable right now, so I think that's where we're going to head. I'd like to see it come down just a little bit more. Doesn't have to. I mean, it pretty much satisfied on the downside, satisfied the level that I'm looking at. I was hoping it would kind of come and just clean up this little inefficient range right in here. Doesn't have to do it, but if it does, great. Whoops. It's about 30 pips lower, so we may not get a move down to there, but 15 pips, I could see that. If price moves down here and it runs 10 to 15 pips lower underneath this candle here, and you see price all of a sudden stop and retreat, buy it. Buy it, buy it, buy it. Low on this one, 130, call it 130.80. I'd be looking for a move to 130.70. Let's see if we get that. See if we get price come down and touch off at 130.70. What's this low? That one's 130.70. Maybe 130.69. run this low by like a pip. I bet you. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm looking for here going into London Open. So, guys, that's about it. I hope you got some sort of value out of this. If you did, beautiful. Join us at f45trading.com if this is your first time joining us. We have a ton of resources over there. We've got chat rooms. We've obviously got these live trading sessions. We've got analysis almost 24/7 from 3 or 4 different analysts that we have working with us. We've got lots of resources there. So come check us out. I think you'll like what you see. Oh, and excuse me, I wanted to mention that one last thing here before I escape, that we are going to be starting live coaching sessions starting right away here. I've got I'm not a very technically savvy person, and designing websites is not one of my fortes. I'm just trying to get some stuff done on my website to update it, but I'll eventually put it all on my website and explain everything to you. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching, and that's a guaranteed minimum 20 hours a month with myself or another analyst, and we'll show you the ins and the outs of the markets, how to trade, what to do, when to do it, why to do it, then come check us out. Send me a direct message, jump on F45 Trading, send me an email. There's 100 different ways to get a hold of me. You can figure it out. Twitter at F45 Trading at Twitter. Just shoot me a note if you're on Twitter. Direct message, and just hit me up if you guys are interested in any of the coaching. If you are, great, we can get sessions rolled out here right away from you. So pretty much any skill trading level that's out there, we can help you with. So if you're looking to just tighten up your game a little bit, you have some questions here or there, you want to know why price does what it does, we can sit down and we can show you, and literally one-on-one, I'll share my screen out to you at a private session, and we can go through. You can ask me questions, and I'll show you whatever I can to help you get up and running and trading and profitable. And that's obviously the name of the game. So that's all I had to say. That's my soapbox speech. I appreciate you guys' time. Hope you have a great week. Profitable week, of course. And hopefully the market's set up the way we think they're going to. So with that, I am going to get out of here. We will catch up to you. Dave will be back for our live session, New York Open, Wednesday morning. So I will message you with that, post all the links up so you can join us. And until then, we'll see you.